So small disclaimer, I don't have a background in gymnastics, but rather come from a background of breakdancing. These are some tips and tricks that worked for me when I first started learning, and your mileage may vary. Alright, let's jump into step 1, building the foundation. First things first, we need to get accustomed with being upside down. You can start on a box or a chair to ease into the inversion and take baby steps to get more and more comfortable being upside down. Try building up to sets of 30 to 40 seconds to get used to the feeling of being inverted. If you eventually want to get to handstand walking, shoulder taps are a great drill to get used to the feeling of weight being transferred from hand to hand. It's also a great drill for practicing your stability. Let's talk about the headstand. At first, you want to practice against the wall so that it can act as a support for you in case you fall. Take a look at the diagram. Having a triangular base allows me to distribute the weight across all points. You don't want your head to take a brunt of the weight, as this will be taxing and strenuous on your neck. Headstands and handstands will feel different and involve a slightly different kind of balance. In both cases, you want your core to be tight and have your spine aligned to make it as easy as possible on yourself to balance. If you're not lined up, that extra bit of lean will make it more challenging and also be less efficient for your balance. As you improve, you can move a little further away from the wall and only tap it when you feel like you're falling. There's a great drill to practice freestanding headstands and handstands as you develop your balance. Step 2, coming up with an exit plan. So you're ready to go upside down without the wall. Hold on one sec and let's learn a few things before we take that next step. The ideal place to practice is to have a mat near you or on a padded or carpeted area. And having more space is going to lead to less crashing. Learning how to bail will also be a great tool to have in your back pocket. The first type of bail I use from inversion is the forward roll. Notice in my roll I'm doing a few things. I lean to one shoulder and round my back to create a natural arch. I tuck my chin into my chest, and this allows me to gracefully exit as opposed to doing a back flop to the ground. If you find yourself falling back, I also like to bend my arms a bit so that I can get closer to the ground before I actually start rolling. This helps reduce the impact even further. The other bail I like to use is a cartwheel transition. If you feel yourself falling more to the side, you should get comfortable with transitioning your weight into the falling side's hand and bring your feet down one at a time. Chances are you won't be falling to the side as frequently as falling straight back, but it's still a good trick to have down to quickly exit handstands, especially if you're learning how to handstand walk. If all else fails, the last ditch bail you can do is to make a glute bridge before you hit the ground. Catching the impact on your feet will feel a whole lot better than if you went splat onto your back. So now it's time to take the leap of faith and start practicing freestanding. One common mistake when doing handstands is that people won't do anything with their fingers. Your fingers are great for helping you balance. If you find yourself falling backwards, you can press into your fingers to counteract the shift and recalibrate. It's going to feel scary at first when starting without a wall, but remember the exit strategies we went over in step 2. You'll fumble around a lot, but that's completely okay. It's all part of the learning process. As you start, your hands will move around a lot. Your goal is to center your body so that everything is in that straight line we talked about in the previous steps for balance. If your goal is to learn how to walk on your hands, practice transferring your weight to each side and get comfortable with that feeling of recalibrating after each step. Some people like to change the position of their legs because it makes balancing handstands easier for them. That's perfectly fine, but I recommend you practice getting used to having a rigid body first, as this will teach you the nuances of using your hands and keeping your core tight. Handstands and headstands are some of my favorite exercise movements, but it can be pretty frustrating when first learning. Don't overdo it at once because you'll probably end up with a crick in your neck. Make sure you set yourself up for success by getting those safety tips down first. Hope this helped, and it helps the channel a lot if you like and subscribe. See you for the next video.